Hello and welcome to Impact Africa, our online TV program where we get to have conversations with diverse people and organizations who are impacting lives positively. Yes, this is me, Kemi Akiode Adebayo, aka Mama K. In today's program, and to share a story is our young, vibrant, beautiful, I could go on and on. She's a daughter to me and a dear mentee as well, by the name of Ms Zoe Diekolola George. She is a final year Pure Law student at UNISA and as well as a radio presenter, and she's based here in Cape Town, South Africa. My dear Zoe, how are you today?
Thank you so much for that warm introduction. First of all, I love that, Mama K. And I'm doing so well today. It's a great day.
Also,
I feel good things
and I
happen.
love your hair. And interestingly, I'm looking at you now. I have gray, which is like blonde. I'm trying to cover it. And meanwhile, you are showing it off. Maybe I should learn from you and not cover mine.
I actually bleached this about 2 years ago. I had very short hair, but I do have gray hairs that I'm just hiding.
No, you can't. Come on, don't say that. You can't. Not yet. Never suits you.
They're gray early in my family.
Oh,
so.
right. You're like mine. I was the same. I started growing at very, very, very young age. So tell me, Diekolola, which is is it your first or your second name?
It's actually my second name.
Your second name. Okay, what does that mean and where is it from?
So I'm actually from Nigeria. I'm Yoruba, both of my parents Yoruba speaking. They gave me this name and it means what God has done in my life is not small, but it is said from the perspective of the parent, as if they're saying that over me, like what God has done in their life is like He's done a lot.
Wow. And what's your position in your family?
Well, I am the youngest child of 3.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm the baby.
You're the baby in the house.
The only one still living at home.
Okay. Yeah. And how was life growing up for you? Were you born in Nigeria or were you born in South Africa?
So I was actually born in Nigeria. Not a lot of people know this. In 1999 in Lagos First Consultant Hospital, and we immigrated here as a family. Okay. When I was 3 years old, my father and brother first came, and my mother and my sister and I joined them about 6 months later, and we moved.
And how old were you then?
I was about 3. Okay. I was literally an infant.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we first moved to Joburg and lived there for like 6 months, but the reason why we moved to South Africa is because, well, both my parents are pastors and God called them to move to South Africa. So initially we stayed in Joburg, but then God called us to move down to Cape Town, and we've been here ever since then. So that should be about 2003.
Oh, that's a long time. Let me go back a little bit. I know you said you were 3 though when you left Nigeria, but I'm sure you've been back, a little bit. Tell me about some of the culture, or what you like about being a Nigerian.
What I love about being a Nigerian is I just feel like as a people, we are just so full of life, so jovial, especially Yoruba people. Like we know how to have fun. We have good food, plantain, jollof rice, fried rice, pounded yam. Oh my goodness, the food, the culture. We're very big on respect. Something I honestly think.
And I've seen that already within how many minutes I've seen that your mother has trained you well, with that culture thing. So now that you've lived here basically from a very young age, would you consider yourself to be South African? And what part of South African culture have you embraced that you love?
That's a very good question, because actually a lot of children of immigrants struggle with that identity issue of, oh, I'm not really like the people from the country I come from, even if though I was born there and, I have the name from that culture, but I'm more like the people in the country I live in, but I'm not. I can't just say I'm South African, because then people will say, oh, so are you Xhosa, are you Zulu? And I'm not. And then they're like, oh, but that's an interesting name that you have. That's not a South African name. And then it's like, oh, so where are you from? So for a while, actually, I did struggle with identifying with a particular group. And then I just kind of realized I don't really need to. I am Nigerian. I consider myself so Nigerian, even though not many people do. But I think that the important thing is to know where you're from. I also consider myself a Cape Townian because of how much time I've spent here, how well I know the city. I love the city. So,
and you schooled here as well.
Exactly.
And you're still schooling here.
Yes.
Anyway, so can you speak Afrikaans? Or?
I can.
You can?
Yeah, but I think that my understanding is a lot better because my accent is so thick when I speak Afrikaans.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Say something to us in Afrikaans. I don't know. Anything? My name is...
My naam is Zoe. Ek is ek weet nie wat law is in Afrikaans nie, maar... You know.
Oh, so what does that mean?
No, I just said my name is Zoe, and then I was going to say I was a law student, but then I said, I don't know what law is in Afrikaans.
Oh, okay. Well, you can have conversation in it. So can you speak Yoruba, which is your native language?
Interestingly enough, my parents did not really grow up speaking it to me, so I had to make the...
That's the excuse our children tell us. But I have children like that. They keep telling me it's my fault.
No, but Mama
can't speak my language.
I actually tried to learn. Like, I used to listen to podcasts. I would get apps and stuff. So I think I understand better than I speak because the intonation is also not really there.
So you understand it, but you can't speak it.
Yes. Yes, Mama K.
Okay. You have to learn it because if you can speak Afrikaans, you need to learn basic Yoruba as well.
That's what I said to myself. Like, I need to connect.
So I'm challenging you. When we meet next, you need to be able to say a few words. Can you say a few words? You should be able to say a few words. Come on.
Ekaro.
Okay, so which means good morning. So that's good enough. Okay. And you said it well. Well enough. Well done. So now let me go now to what you said earlier, you know, about the culture, identity, and you schooling here and growing up, and now you're in your 20s?
Yes, I'm 23.
You're 23. So do you still consider Nigeria to be home, or you consider Cape Town to be home? Or you see yourself as, like you said there, you are Cape Townian and you are Nigerian, and you embrace both identities?
Yes. I feel like I consider Nigeria to be more of an ancestral home. Right. Because unfortunately, if I were to go there now, I don't think I would be able to navigate too well. But I'm just terrible at direction. So I can't even navigate too well here.
I know they will navigate for you, Nigeria. Oh, but go straight. Then you turn left. That right, you will see it. So you don't even want to ask anybody about navigating in Nigeria.
Yes.
But I'm sure family and friends who are still back home will help you. You know, when last were you in Nigeria?
The last time, oh my goodness, I was 14.
Okay.
So a little under 9 years ago, actually, 9 years ago. We went there and I visited my grandma. I went to my dad's village in Oka. I went to see...
Where is that? Where is your dad's village?
Oka.
Oka. Where is that in Nigeria?
It's in the south, in Yoruba land. I think it's in Ondo.
Ondo State, yes. I think it's Ondo State.
Yes. Okay. And then we visited my other grandma, my mother's mom, in Cross River State in Calabar. And we went to watch the carnival, and it was so fun. And it was beautiful, you know.
And from what you've just said, your dad is from Ondo and your mom from Cross River, which is southeast.
Yes.
And southwest. So it just shows you how culturally you are even mixed, you know, being a Nigerian. Because then what you said with the carnival, you know, and the culture, you know, are different from both places. But I wouldn't ask you how they met. So let's not go, because you might not know. You might not know.
Oh, no, I know.
Oh, you know how they met. How did they meet then?
So my parents...
Because they're both from two diverse cultures. Yeah.
My mom is actually half Yoruba, half Efik. Okay. So she was living in Lagos at the time with her dad's family. Her dad is the Yoruba side of the family. My dad had been studying there. Well, he studied in the University of Ilorin, and then he moved to Lagos to work as a pastor. So they met in a church service.
Oh, through church.
The most Christian thing you can think of.
I can imagine. So how does it feel like being a pastor's child?
Oh,
both pastors, not even one.
Yeah.
Both mom and dad are pastors. So how does it feel for you?
Being a PK is it's interesting.
Is that the word for it? PK?
Yeah, that's the PK.
Okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. It's lovely, actually. Like, I think my parents, in comparison to most other pastors, can be a little more westernized, and because they trust me, they've given me certain freedoms. But you know, it was good for me because I grew up in the church.
Right.
I grew up like participating in activities, you know, from when I've basically been serving in church since I was 9 years old. So I have a strong love for the church and for his, you know, Christianity. Obviously, that's why I'm a Christian today. Not because they forced it on me. They introduced me to the concept.
Okay.
But then I eventually...
It was your decision.
Yes, it was my decision. And I love that my parents always told me that I could have that decision. And it wasn't just, oh, because we're pastors, you must also be a pastor. Like, you have to be called into that.
And you look so much like your mom, by the way. I'm looking at you and I'm like thinking, oh, this is your mom. Well, you know what? We'll be right back. Oh, Zoe, born in Nigeria in Lagos in 1999, emigrated with your family. They came in 2002 to Joburg, called here as pastors for missionary work, and then they came to Cape Town, and you've lived here all your life, been to school, can speak Afrikaans, a little bit of Yoruba, but you understand basic, and you know, schooling. You're in your final year of UNISA Pure Law. What's Pure Law, by the way?
So a Pure Law degree is an LLB degree, a Legium Baccalaureus degree. With that, you can practice as an attorney or an advocate. The difference between that and a regular other law degree is most people, what they do is they'll do 2 degrees. So they'll do their undergrad in either a BA degree or a BCom degree of any kind, but then they'll take some law modules so that when they do their postgraduate in law, they can just do it within 2 years, and they can be qualified to practice as an attorney after, of course, doing their 2 years of articles, or to practice as an advocate after a year of pupillage. But it's a general degree. Right. So if you want to specialize in law, you do that usually with your master's, or when you become an attorney and you write a series of exams if you want to be like a conveyancer or a notary. But yeah. So
which area are you thinking to specialize in, or you don't know yet?
I've honestly, because I've wanted to be a lawyer for some time now.
And why? Yeah, why law? Yeah. Because most Nigerian families, West African families, to be honest, is we want our children to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer. Those are the 3 things. So was it your parents' influence, or I think your grandfather or something?
Yes, my mom's family, almost everyone is a lawyer. My aunt is a lawyer, my grandma's a lawyer, my grandfather's a lawyer, his grandfather's a lawyer. I recently found out my uncle on my dad's side has like a PhD in canon law, but he's a priest, so I think he needs to.
So you come from a family of lawyers. Yes. So why law for you? Was it that, or was it just something that you were interested in? It
was something I was interested in, and I felt that it was what I needed to study. I was excited for it, and the more I do it, the more I find that I enjoy the law. I've done some student work opportunities where I've job shadowed lawyers, and initially I thought I wanted to be a conveyancer. They specialize in property law. Every time you buy a house, you have to consult a conveyancer to actually transfer the house into your name, and they do other activities. But the second time around, when I was job shadowing, I was job shadowed at a labor law firm. And oh my goodness, it is so interesting.
Is it?
Yes. The stories you hear. Because like, they have to like let people go. So it's just like, I can't tell you anything because of the Poppy Act. But some of the things that people do to in the workplace, it's just interesting to hear about. You'll never have a boring day.
So you might consider labor law. You might just. Yeah. But now let me move to something else that you're doing. And it's interesting to find that you've job shadowed. And so was it something you decided? Because most young people don't think of things like that. Yeah. So before I go into your other career path, kind of. So is it something you decided to do, or was it part of somebody encouraging you to go and job shadow, or just out of interest, or was it your school, that pushed you in that direction?
The very first time I job shadowed when I was 17, I was actually a part of a life orientation project.
Ah, okay.
But the last two times I did purely out of my own interest because, you know, at UNISA, it's a distance university. So you don't really get to interact much with a law clinic, with your lecturers. So I wanted to go out into the field and see what it's like.
Right.
And I, at the time, had a friend whose father owned he was a partner in a law firm. So he allowed me to come in and job shadow some of the lawyers.
Okay, awesome, interesting. So now let's go to your other career that you freelance as a radio presenter. How, when, and why did you get into radio presenting?
So when I matriculated, I had all this time, and my parents actually work at the same radio station. So they were looking to start a
What's the name of the radio station?
Radio Cape Pulpit.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So they were looking to start a youth program geared towards girls because they already had one towards boys. So they told me I should audition. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It was not just.
It was not. I had to earn it.
Nigerian parents, I salute, Gary. Yes. So they told you to audition.
Yes.
Okay.
So I had to audition.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. So it was not just, okay, we're doing this, you can join. You had to audition. And how was the audition process?
It was a bit nerve-wracking because I didn't at the time think I could do it. So I was very surprised when I beat out some of the girls who auditioned. But I've been doing that for 5 years because I matriculated in 2017. I started there in September 2018. And it's a show once a week on Mondays.
What's it called?
It's called 180 Degrees.
We will share the details at the end as well because we need to support a sister. 180 Degrees. And what do you do on the program?
So it's a show, like I said, geared towards youth, but we talk about a variety of different topics. Over the years, we've spoken about so many things like the femicides, we've spoken about domestic abuse, we've spoken to psychiatrists, mental hospitals. One of the most interesting shows I think we did was in our very first year, where it was a bit of a controversial topic, where we spoke to a woman who, I don't know if I should say this, but she...
So far you don't mention the name.
Okay. She works with children who, well, not children, but when women have those illegal abortions, which I understand many of the times they feel like they don't have a choice, but they have to get the children from... It's a really sensitive issue, but oftentimes the children get taken to places and they're left there. So her organization goes to these places where they know that the children are left, and they kind of look after them and, you know, keep them alive and put them into like adoption situations. So we do stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you get fulfillment, you know, from things like that and helping to share stories of others. And yes, we do have sensitive issues, but we need to have those conversations. And thank you. I've been on one of your programs.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to come back again. I need to hear myself.
Yes.
So but we need to share the details. 180 Degrees. Which day of the week normally?
On Mondays.
On Mondays. Okay. I can't wait to join in at one of the programs. So I'm sure, like you said, you know, being on the radio, and radio is so powerful, I believe, and a good way to inform, to entertain, to educate. What have been some of the challenges, you know, for you while presenting on radio?
I think the main challenge for me in the beginning, well, you know, I was fresh out of school, a teenager. I didn't know that many people who I could bring onto the show to talk about things. And I was even nervous to contact people. Like,
really?
Yes, I was like, they were going to look at me like this teenager, like, okay, whatever. So that was the challenge, gaining that confidence to actually approach people and ask them, and to do it politely and try and be professional. I think that was a challenge, but I've just been learning so much.
So you were trained, or you are being trained, or you've been trained?
Well, I didn't receive formal training, but I learned through experience.
Right, on the job as you go.
Yes, ma'am, okay.
So challenges, what you've been mostly proud of? As a radio presenter so far?
I think the thing that has brought me most pride is just actually giving some of these people like a platform to talk about what they do in the community. At this point in time, we are actually having a bit of a takeover by an organization called MUT, where they target areas when there's a lot of gang violence, and they provide programs for kids who are vulnerable to have like almost like a big brother. Because, you know, when the gangs target these vulnerable children, they do so to kids who don't have, you know, mentors or people they can look up to. So they kind of play that role, but then maliciously,
yes.
because they are introducing them to violence and crime. So MUT does like a good Big Brother program, and they have so many programs. It's just like talking about that, letting people know about these things. Like, I think that's been the greatest thing about
it. Talk about mentors there, and we're going to stop for a break very shortly now again. Have you had any mentors or role models for you personally who have helped you, you know, up to, because you're still young.
Yes.
But, you know, there's so much you're saying in there for me, you know, that I feel people need to hear, especially our young people, and being Youth Month as well in South Africa. Have you had mentors, you know, in your life? Did you choose them? Or, you know, do you have role models, you know, people who have impacted your life so far?
Well, I always believe that there's so much to be learned from other people. I don't think officially I've had a mentor who would like take me out and like we'd meet once a week, but there are so many women I look up. That, like, for example, there's a lady at the radio station, Lauren Jacobs. I don't even know if I've ever expressed how much I look up to her, because I like to do it in the silence. But whenever I see a powerful woman, like I try to follow them and like be like them, like you, Mama Kay. I feel like you're a very inspirational woman.
Thank you.
Yes, I was in your last webinar. I don't know if you saw me, but
I didn't. But this is not about me. And on that note, we'll be right back.
yeah.
Wow, there's so much to learn from you, you know, in terms of even what you said, your job shadowing, your learning at UNISA, which is a distance school, radio presenting, learning on the job, people who informally you look up to. So what are some of the life lessons for you? I know you're still very, very young, but I still believe, based on your experience and what you've been through and what your parents as well, the foundation they've given you, other people that have influenced your life, what are some of the life lessons that you would advise a young person that might want to go into the media world, broadcasting, print, social media, or anything that has helped you?
Yeah, I think to just go for it. Honestly, like, it can feel very daunting, I'm not gonna lie, and especially if you may not have the necessary experience they might be looking for, but just go for what you believe in. If you have enough drive, you can do whatever you want to do. And I think that's just the main thing. Go for it.
Right.
Believe in yourself and take a leap of faith. You never know where you'll land.
Right. Awesome. And is that radio? I know you're on radio now. Will TV, or are you online on social media, Instagram and all that? Are those areas that you use as well to inform and entertain and educate?
Well, I was on Instagram, but you know, I'm currently in my exam period, so because
you need to focus.
Yes.
And your mama and papa will not allow you
They
to
will
fail.
not understand. You failed. You must just pass. But yeah, so I'm usually on Instagram,
Okay.
but I've deactivated.
Okay.
But
So you can focus on your
Yes.
exams and other things.
Yes,
And that
okay.
shows you how, in terms of even you as a young person, being able to prioritize your life.
Yes.
Being able to say, okay, now this one needs to stop. Because those things could be a distraction.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, but you need to focus on your exams, and you can come back to it.
Yeah.
Get your followers. Get all the people you want to get follow you. Okay, now let me ask kind of a sensitive one, but as a child of migrant parents who came here not because they were hungry or coming here just because they just picked a place, but because God called them, to come here. What more, do you think? Because I know we know the problems for migrant people, mostly settling in, identity crisis, being blamed for a lot of stuff and so on, and xenophobia as well, and racism, even in the community, that we find ourselves is still there between black, white, colored, and so on. What more do you think can be done, and as a young person, and in your opinion, to help challenge or combat racism, xenophobia, or any form of intolerance or discrimination in South Africa?
I think the root of intolerance and every other discrimination based on something the person can't change, like their race or their ethnicity, is based in ignorance. So I think the way in which we can change that is to just school these people on why it's wrong, because for the most part, I think when people feel this way, they don't have a good reason. Maybe they've just been taught by their parents or society that just because someone is different from you, they're evil, they're horrible, you should hate them. But if you actually go out into the world and you talk to people and you just see that not everyone is the same, there's no characteristic that all people share except the fact that we're all human. Yeah. So when you go out into the world and see people, although that's often not possible for many people because of their financial situations, but to go out maybe to just like Cape Town is a very multicultural city, to also have these conversations, like you said earlier, where we talk about these things so that people can see different perspectives. Two heads are, after all, better than one. So I think to put yourself in a situation where you can mix with people who are not like you, but also to mix with people like you, to have a strong support system, I think that's the best we can do. And
I'm sure through your work, you mix with people from all backgrounds, be it black, white, colored, Nigerians, Zimbabweans, and so on. So I'm sure you're already doing your bit, to make sure things like this are addressed. And you're right, intolerance is normally based on ignorance. And schooling, educating, having conversations, they're important. Now, let me go to my kind of final question. What social issue for you that you're passionate about, out there? I'm sure there must be something, that you're passionate about. But I don't want you to talk about the problem or the issue, but rather, what do you think as well are solutions? Because mostly it's all about solutions. If they're practical or not, it doesn't matter. So what issue are you passionate about? Be it an issue in South Africa, in Zimbabwe, Nigeria, anywhere, but in Africa, focusing on Africa.
I think there are mainly three that are very passionate to me. The first one, which was the first one I became passionate about, was just mental health issues, which plague a lot of people, and they don't even know sometimes that that's the issue, because you can't always see a physical reaction because it affects their behavior. So I think the one way we can combat that is to educate more people about symptoms, encourage people to seek help when they have these problems, to change the stigma around people who have mental health disorders, because when there is that stigma, they do not go and seek help as much, but also when they seek help, they can seek help from someone who can actually help them and not just say it's all in your head. The next one would be issues against immigrants.
Right.
you know, xenophobia, racism, the violence that just generally happens, but also on an institutional level. This is something I noticed when I went to high school. A lot of my friends were also immigrants, and a lot of them had grown up in South Africa, basically as South Africans, but because of their identification, they couldn't get some of the same opportunities as some South Africans. So I feel like if we can lobby to get some help for them as well, you know, like in terms of maybe schooling, a lot of them could not go to university despite the fact that they had the marks to go because of the affordability, but also you get held to a slightly higher standard as an immigrant, even though because I guess they assume that your schooling in another country is higher, even though you schooled with the same person. So to get some more institutional changes so that we're not being held back, that is another issue. And the last one, which is recent, but when I say recent, I mean within the past like 3 years, it was always important to me, but it just became extremely important to me in the past 3 years, and that is femicides and violence against women and children. That I actually knew one of the girls who was, that is when it became very serious to me. Not that it wasn't before, as I said, but to know that such a beautiful, kind girl that was well loved could die such a violent death protecting her grandfather, and I knew her personally. Was it
the one in Paro?
It was the one in Matreusfontein, Jesse Hess.
Okay.
Yes, we were in like from pre-primary school to high school. Yeah. So when that happened, I remember I wanted to do something. So like I spoke to another lady in the radio station, and she was like, well, you have this platform, so you can
use it.
Yes. And that's when I started reaching out to some organizations, like in particular Fight Back SA.
Right.
We've spoken to them a couple of times. I'm very close to the owner, Nicole, and she comes on sometimes to talk about them. She also gave us some ideas for how we could change the system. Like, for example, I didn't know this, but oftentimes when a woman reports that she's been raped, they have to take a rape test, which is available at the police station. And many police stations don't even have stock of that. So if you can't even test, because you only have a certain window while to do it. So to make sure we have these changes where the legal system helps these women. There are rape tests for these women to get, and to just curb the unnecessarily high levels of violence against women and children. I think that would be good. What Fight Back SA actually does is they equip women with like tasers and pepper spray to protect themselves. So to do things like that, more community efforts to protect women.
Yeah, those three, they're big things, which we could even spend a whole program, on. Mental health, issue, I'm very passionate as well about it. And it's become really, 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 really bad. I can't really explain, how bad it has been, especially with COVID-19. And what you've said, to seek help, educating more, being able to even acknowledge the symptoms, because there's been a high rate of suicide rate. There's been cyberbullying. There's been, a lot of various things, especially in schools and so on. And I really pray that, more can be done, about it. And I think the first thing is, being able to seek help and not just thinking, or people tell you get over it, is it only you, and so on. And we need to be kinder to each other. We need to be there for each other. And I think that's what we need to do more of, because COVID made us during lockdown to stay indoors. So most of the times we're indoors, and, mental health, physical health, even for the strongest people, they struggled. So there needs to be more done. The issue of, immigrants, what you said there, I like that, the fact that institutional racism and what needs to be done in terms of for maybe policymakers, they need to do more and lobby. I don't know, whoever might be listening out there. But we need to get a voice, heard there for such people that that didn't get the opportunity, we need to get them to speak up.
Yes.
Because if they don't speak up as well, people will think there's no problem.
So true.
And femicide, that one, gender, oh God. I don't know. I really don't know where we're going to go with that. And, you knowing somebody who had gone through that personally. And for me personally, just to add on to what you've said, there, and what maybe Fight Back is doing, and I commend them for what they're doing, and other people who are doing a lot of work trying to empower women and our children through various means. I think as well, and I'm probably just going to say this, I know I don't normally say that, but I'm trying to just do this as well, because I feel this is an opportunity for us to do more, and because you have a platform as well, to do that, is we need to pay more attention to our boy child.
Yes, so true.
I think we've been focusing on girl child
Yes.
for a long time. And we're still doing it. And I'm one person that we're still, the future is female. Oh yeah, we need to, women. But I think more needs to be done for the boy child, because the people committing these crimes are mostly men and boys.
Very true.
And who is paying attention to them? Who is having that talk, to them? They're meant to be men and just get on with it and be a man. Men are not allowed to cry. Men are not allowed to do that. And most of the time, it's something they've experienced that is happening and going around in circles. I don't know how more we're going to do it, but I think more, needs to be done, to the boy child now.
Yes.
In a way that we would, because we talk about it, they tease us women, you have Women's Month, Women's Day, this, that, and so on. There's no Men's Day, Men's Month. And I think we need to pay attention more to our boys when they're that age, about what, they're doing. And when some of them, become adults, because who are the people committing the crime?
Adults.
So we need to go back to the root. Wow. Okay. I don't know what else to say. I know I've been told we've run out of time, but it's been a breeze. It's been fun. I've enjoyed having this conversation, and I'm hoping we can have another one, on more, maybe this topic, that we've, highlighted, and maybe get more young people to talk, to share their stories, to go more into those sensitive things and talk about it. We can agree to disagree. I always believe in that.
Yes.
So, thank you, my dear Zoe, for coming, and well done for all you're doing. I salute you. Even at the age of 23, you've achieved so much, and the future is bright for you. I'll be looking out for you. If I need a lawyer, I know where to come.
Thank you, Mama Kay. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. I was honestly so honored to be here. And just the conversation we had, I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I'm glad, because it's about us enjoying and having fun, and at the same time, inspiring and impacting lives that we can. Hopefully, we're touching one life there. Yes. So in closing, you're not going to get away with it. I want you to just give words of encouragement to our young people, out there. Anyone, migrant, anyone suffering with mental issues or anything, anybody you want to speak to, just please go ahead. Just give them a word of encouragement. So I think the most encouraging thing I can say to anyone out there who's listening, who's struggling, or who just wants a sign that, we may be going through something very terrible right now, but Steve Harvey once said that if you're going through hell, why would you stop? You got to keep going. You've got to keep moving. You've got to keep never be static. Always stay dynamic. Always look towards the bright side, because sometimes it can be very, very tough to be alive, to be a human, especially in the world we're living in, post-COVID-19 lockdowns, with people struggling in every way. So just keep going, try and stay positive, try and look towards the light, believe in yourself, And something that Mama Kay actually told me is to always go for it. You know, never count yourself short just because you feel like you may not have the necessary qualifications, because you'll be surprised with what you can do when you put your heart to the thing you want to do. But that's all from my side.
Yo, are you sure you're 23? You've got all the women that, well, from your mom and dad, I'm not surprised, your grandmother and all the people before you, they've already given you that shoulder, you know, to stand on. And I'm sure you've started empowering and encouraging people even at such a tender age. So keep believing in yourself, and thank you, you know, for that. You've heard it all. Never be static. Keep moving. Keep doing you. Tough to be alive. Believe in yourself. Go for it. Oh, she quoted now. I can't even remember that one. But anyway, but thank you. No, thank you. And I have a lot of respect for you. A lot of people, you know, think, oh, okay, young people, what do they know? I always count myself lucky to be surrounded with young people, and I always want to be young at heart. So
Yeah.
I listen to them. I might not agree with what they say, but I take one or two things, you know, from them, and don't ever stop, you know, from being you and doing what you're doing, because God has a great future plan for you.
Thank you.
And you've already touched so many lives, even just by this and through your program 180 Degrees, which we're going to share the details at the end. And if anybody else wants to support Cape Pulpit, please get in touch with us and we'll send you the details, or we'll share it at the end. And yeah, till next time, this is Mama K signing off. Remember, God is love. Stay safe, stay positive, stay healthy. Love you all. Till next time.